Hello, hello, hello. Hi, LinkedIn. Hi, YouTube. Hi, TikTok. All right, y'all. Happy Thursday. I almost didn't go live today, but thinking about why I didn't want to go live today made me go live today. So, welcome to another episode of SOS Live, Systems, Operations, and Scaling. This is the show where we fix what's running your business before it runs you. My name is Jasmine. I'm a fractional COO and the founder of Sys to Win. We are a consulting operations consulting company where we help service-based founders turn chaos into clarity. We help them turn burnout into bandwidth and operations into peace of mind. And speaking of peace of mind, um, and even burnout into bandwidth, all of the things. When I woke up today, I thought to myself, I don't really want to do much today. And I mean, if you know, you know. And I don't bring this up a lot because I low-key hate when people do this on LinkedIn. Like, here's what walking my dog this weekend has taught me about B2B sales. Like, no. Um, but I will say this. I tore my Achilles in June. If you're familiar with that recovery, it is a 12 to 18 month recovery. I just knew for a fact they were not talking to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you weren't talking to Jasmine, not Jasmine. Like, it's me, guys. I'm not going to need 12 to 18 months. They were talking to me. Yes, they were absolutely talking to me. And I had just gotten a good bit of momentum in my business. I'm like getting the hang of things, you know that feeling where you're like, okay, here we go. Before I tore my Achilles. And the thing about it is it's not people are like, oh, that sounds painful. It wasn't. Whatever. Surgery is surgery. But what the recovery has done to my energy, um, it has taken me months to get back to the point where I have enough energy to work a full day, right? I can't remember the last time that I've been able to work 8 hours. And sometimes I'm like, dang, thank goodness I don't have a job because they would have fired me. Like, I can't work 8 hours even if I wanted to. And there are some times that I really want to. Um, but it has been the biggest blessing in my business because it has forced me to do what a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid to do, which is rest. So the title of this episode, if you saw it on LinkedIn or YouTube, is The Business Boogeyman, because I feel like when it comes to talking about rest, when it comes to talk about taking a break, when it comes talk about slowing down, like these are like cuss words to a founder, right? Especially a founder who is starting to get into the consistent 10, 15, 20K months, right? There's like this fear of like, oh, everything that it took me to get here, right? All of the moving so fast and responding in the middle of the night and over delivering and all of those things, that is why I got here. And therefore, if I stop that, then everything will go out the window and I won't be able to have access to these things that I built. And then here I am like, yeah, I'm gonna work a couple hours on Wednesday before my nap, or I have my calendar blocked off because I don't want to talk before 11. I just don't, right? And those are boundaries that I have in my business, not because I wanted them. And so I totally understand, like sometimes I feel left out of the conversation when other founders are like, we're working 24/7 and it's around the clock and I'm working so much and all of these things. Because but where I don't feel left out is the progress in business. And so when I juxtapose those two things, I'm like, okay, well, yeah. Am I working on the most important of the most important? You know, that's what I have to ask myself that every morning because I don't have the energy to do all of the extras. So when I think about my to-do list for the week and I'm seeing, all of these things, cool. If I know when I wake up, I can tell, I probably got about 2, maybe 3 hours of energy for today. The rest of it must either be delegated, be automated, or dropped off. Is not that important, right? And that framing, that mind, that necessity, really, it's not even it's a mindset now, because that's just where I am. But that framing is what has been able to push my business, but also how I've been able to help a lot of other businesses as well. And so I want us to really I want to talk about this more today because I almost didn't do this because I needed a nap. Because if you know, I started jogging. So cool. I unlocked a new trick. But with that new level, typically means that my energy will drop down super low for like the next 1 to 2 weeks. I'll have very low energy. So all the things on my to-do list, I really got to get serious about what's for me, what can get dropped, what needs to get prioritized. Um, so yeah, let's jump into the episode because I think that um, the common misconception that I'm hearing from founders is that they need more time. Oh, if I have more time. Oh, if I have more time. If I have more time, I just, I need more time. I got to keep going. I need more time. But the reality is you can't be afraid to take a break. Um, yeah, because it's not actually the hours that you're worried about. It's the assurance. You can't relax when you're wondering if a client has been onboarded or if your team followed up or if something's on fire, right? That's what gives you the feeling that you can't relax. But deep down, it's really not about the trust in your team even. It's the trust in your systems. And when I say systems, I'm gonna say this in every single episode. When I talk about systems, I'm not talking about tools. I'm not talking about tools because Zapier's gonna work. It's gonna not work. Honeybook's gonna work. It's gonna not work. You know, uh, Cloudflare. Well, something will happen with Cloudflare, and nobody will be able to use Discord. And so I'm not talking about tools, right? When I say systems are a full thing, and I'm gonna get into that next episode. But you shouldn't feel behind. And if you are feeling behind, it's not because you're lazy. It's because you don't have this layer of protection that's helping you, um, to be able to to relax you. Just like it's hard to sleep if you're not sure if you close the garage door. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, I'm not sure where I'm at, or this is a new place and it makes it hard to sleep. When you don't have those assurances, that's what's making it hard for you to rest. So let's talk about how to rebuild that trust and why this is the key to scaling sustainably. And if you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube right now, um, one, I feel like I'm sideways, but that's okay if I am. I'm just always tell me if I am in the comments. Um, and if you are somebody who streams from a third party platform and yours doesn't go sideways, please let me know which one you're using because somehow I always end up going sideways or freezing or whatever the case may be. But let me know in the comments. All right, but let's jump in. So this old belief of founders, if I just organize my time better, then I'll feel in control, right? Truthfully, control isn't about time, it is about trust. So a lot of times you'll block off your calendar, you set goals, you plan your week, and then at the end of the week, you still feel behind. You're delegating tasks even, but then you're still rechecking them because you're not sure if you trust how they're going to turn out. Um, and the same thing, like when you miss a follow up or you drop a detail or there's a late response like this, all of these things chip away at your peace, and your nervous system is working harder than the systems in your business. And when you can't trust your operations, you start working twice as hard in order to create the illusion of order. the illusion of order. Okay. I know, especially if you're a founder that looks like me, you've been taught that you have to work twice as hard to get half as far. But even that creates this sense of, I have to do everything. I have to do so many things when truly it creates an illusion of order, an illusion of progress. If you're not working on the right tasks, which as a CEO, if you're doing $5 tasks, you're doing the wrong tasks. Those things do not actually move the business forward, right? So when I wake up and I know I don't have energy that day, I have to ask myself, what are the tasks that are going to move the business forward? Because I only got 30 minutes, and so I need to do those particular tasks. So let's get honest. Let's get honest. This is a place where we can all be honest. What does it actually take to rebuild operational trust? I'm huge on frameworks because you can apply them anywhere. I work with service-based businesses, particularly businesses that are kind of getting into that consistent 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 20, 30K months, right? And you're starting to realize, okay, well, I wasn't sure if it worked. I wasn't sure if my offer was clear. I wasn't sure if my marketing could get people in the door, but obviously customers are coming in. But now I'm starting to get a little bit afraid to let customers in the door because I don't want to work until 4 a.m. anymore. I don't want to work until 1. And if I let more customers in, then that means I'm going to have to work until 4 a.m. And so you're starting to get that hesitancy, right? So this is the framework that I use with all of my clients. And truthfully, yeah. My clients who are the most successful, I just had a client close 6 figures in 45 days, and we use the same exact framework. Um, we use the same exact framework. So step 1, assess. This is our 3A framework: assess, align, activate. Okay. So assess. Now, when I talk about this, and I'm talking about this in terms of like you as a founder right now, right? We can talk about this in terms of like you as a business, but remember, like, you are also a person too. And so this assessment piece where we're identifying where the fractures are, it's important to understand and be honest with yourself. Where does the trust break down? It's rarely everywhere, right? Like, there can be multiple things going well in your business, but there's these pieces that you're like, I wouldn't pass this even if I could, right? Typically, that's like, that should be a flag to you. Hey, this is where trust breaks down here, right? It's in the cracks. So the moments where you double check or hesitate to delegate, like, oh, nah, this is too important to pass. When really, I mean, when I worked at Meta, Mark Zuckerberg knew nothing of what I did, right? He's not checking. He was not checking. Okay. Right. I mean, there's a ton of duplicate efforts in those big tech companies. So trust me, they're not checking and they're doing just fine. Okay. But those moments where you are personally double checking or hesitating to delegate, the more that you hold on to as a founder, the less you're going to be able to scale, because you need a team. You need a team. Like, you have to be able to pass the ball, even if, and this, I get a lot of people saying this in my DMs too, like, well, I don't need a team. I'm just going to use AI agents. You still have to build an AI agent. These same things apply no matter who you're passing it to or what you're passing it to, whatever the case may be. You have to give it enough direction and you have to be able to trust it. So you trust man or machine, whatever, don't matter. It's the same concept, right? Where are the places that you're double checking, that you're hesitating to delegate? Those are your operational trust leaks. That's where things are leaking. You have to find that in your assessment. So if you're not already having this on your list as a founder, if you're still, halfway in operator and CEO, cool, but you need to make sure that you have CEO hours on your calendar and don't miss them, just like you wouldn't miss a sales call. Okay. So it's time to, the first step in rebuilding trust in your business is assess, find those fractures. Step 2 is align. This is when you're starting to figure out, okay, this is where I am and this is where I'm trying to go. We need to start aligning these things, right? How do we get these things to come together, right? Because trust isn't built on promises, it's built on patterns, right? It is built on patterns. If you have the caregiver archetype, if you haven't seen any of my archetype lives or videos, scroll through my content. But if you have the caregiver archetype, um, or even the firefighter archetype, it is not uncommon for you to have offers that are a lot of like one-offs, 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 one-offs. You have to be able to group your segmentation so that you can start having patterns in your business, right? So documenting your workflows meaning the path that you take to complete uh, a certain task that's attached to a KPI. If your workflows aren't attached to a KPI, your team at some point is going to wonder, like, what am I being held accountable to? So make sure that all of your workflows are attached to KPIs, but you got to start documenting your workflows. What are, all the things that you are doing to increase sales? What are all of the things that you are doing to increase show up rate, whatever the case may be, right? Creating dashboards and give visibility to your team. When we're all aware of what's going on, it makes it very easy to stay in lockstep with your team, right? What reduces anxiety? What truly, truly reduces anxiety is clarity. Say it with me. Clarity reduces anxiety. If you're watching live right now, please put in the chat, clarity reduces anxiety, right? That's why we feel anxious about things that we've never done before, because it's not clear, right? It's not even that it's just scary, it's just unclear. Well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it done today. When it's very clear, when you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get up and do the same thing I've done. Like you don't get anxiety when putting on your shoes or having to tie your shoes. You've done it so many times at this point, it doesn't trigger anxiety anymore because you have clarity, right? And transparency is what builds safety. So after you have assessed and identified the fractures, the next thing that you are going to do is align. It's time to redesign with predictability, right? Oh, we gonna run the same thing every time? Yes, 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 yes. My client that just did 6 figures in 45 days, you think we not finna run that back? In fact, we gonna run it back so many times, your head is gonna spin. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to have a repeatable business. It's okay. Not everything has to be new, hot, shiny, da da da, right? But the thing is, we keep running it back. We're going to learn things. We're going to tighten up that process even more. And we're going to then once it gets running to a point where, I mean, hopefully we can get it to the point where he doesn't have to step in at all. Right now, he only has to show up 1 hour per week, total 10 hours per month, right? If he's doing more, because now we're trying to double it, right? Now we know that it works. Now we can run it twice if we want to. Now we can run it 3 times if we want to. 3 times at the same time if we want to, right? But that predictability reduces that anxiety because it's very clear what everybody is supposed to be doing. Everyone is very clear on what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to show up, how they know it's done. That transparency, it builds safety and predictability. So assess, identify the fractures. 2, redesign with predictability. The third thing that you're going to do is activate. This is where you test and reinforce. You don't just fix the leak. You actually have to stress test the system. I'm actually meeting with the client on Friday so we can show her what it looks like, to stress test the system, right? Create trust loops. When something breaks, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been yelled at as a kid for spilling milk, and then you see your nephew or like the same thing with the grandparent, how the grandparent reacts to the same exact spilled milk, right? They're just like, oh, it's okay. It's because you weren't holding the handle. That's why. Right? You know how both of those feel, right? Because you've been on one side, you've seen the other side, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. You know that when something breaks, you have to just diagnose. Don't worry about blame. You got that information early. That's something to be grateful about. Diagnose and fix it. Use team check-ins and metrics as feedback, not as micromanagement, right? And I use kid examples when I'm talking about teammates that you hire, because When it comes to knowledge about the world, right? We assume that a parent has way more knowledge about the world than their offspring does. And the same thing about your business. This is your baby. You know it through and through. No matter how many employees that you have, they do not have the same experience with your world as you do. And so it's not to say that your teammates are infantile or, whatever. They are just inexperienced with your particular business compared to you. So you do have to spell things out very quickly and use team check-ins as metrics for feedback, not for micromanagement, right? Oh, the milk spilled because you didn't hold the handle. Okay. We see how this affected the metric, right? Okay, let's make sure that this is clear that we're using the handle when we pour the milk, and we're also using the handle when we touch any other cold drink as well. Everybody good on that? Does that make sense? Does anybody need help or practice or any additional training on holding the milk with the handle, right? It's not like, oh, you spilled the milk because you didn't use the handle. Now I'm going to watch every single thing that you do because you don't want to hire me then, because you start micromanaging me, I'm going to quit. And I doubt if you're a founder that's just starting to get to your 10, 15, 20K months, you're probably not paying people enough to deal with tomfoolery. I said I was going to be honest, right? These big tech companies, people will complain about their operations and the disorganization. They're paying people enough to keep their mouth shut. You're not. And that's okay. But we just got to get things in order. Okay. So when you can finally see your business running without you, it's not detachment, that is leadership. Right? Most founders don't realize it, but a lot of times we run on survival mode. Always on edge, always waiting for something to fall apart, constant adrenaline, masquerading as productivity. But peace isn't passive. It's the reward for structure, right? Peace is the reward for structure. Systems don't just create efficiency in your business, they create emotional safety for you as a founder. When you know exactly what's going to happen, 1, 2, 3, 4, you are much less stressed as a founder, right? And so when you're thinking about systems aren't just about like, oh, let me just get these tools, let me get these tasks off my plate. It's deeper than that. It is deeper than that. One, they create capacity, right? They create efficiency. Efficiency creates capacity. So now you have things are running smoother in a shorter amount of time, which means that you have more capacity to make more money, right? When people that I've worked with some clients who were hesitant about my prices, and then they make the money back like immediately because they get capacity. That's what systems get you. But also they create an emotional safety for you as a founder, because you don't have to keep wondering, oh, what's going to happen? Oh, where's this? Where's that? And that is real. That is real. Entrepreneurship is scary. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts. You're brave enough to keep doing it. And that's great. But brave doesn't mean the absence of fear. So even though you keep doing it, even though you keep trying it, that doesn't mean that your body is not registering. What in the heck are we doing? We keep doing this every day, right? Why do we keep trying all these scary things every day, right? When you have a repeatable business, because you have clear workflows, because you've assessed, you've aligned, and you've activated. You've used that framework in your business, and things get repeatable and predictable. Your nervous system is what gets rest. When you trust your system, your nervous system gets to rest, right? You'll be surprised at how different your sleep is when you have systems, right? I wanted to take a nap today because I knew my team already has the information that they need on the client that we onboarded yesterday. So at this point, me working 4 hours today is an option. I don't have to if I don't want to. And today I didn't want to. And I wasn't stressed about that. I can nap knowing things are still getting done. They just don't require me. Right? And that's when you stop operating like a firefighter, like an artisan, like a caregiver, and start leading like a CEO comfortably. So if your peace of mind is tied to your to-do list, it is time to rebuild your foundation. The year is about to end. The year is about to end. And actually, I want to address this comment here. Um, someone said that people buying into your business is key. People are never going to buy into your business the way that you do. This is your baby, not theirs, right? If you've ever met somebody who's like, yeah, kids are cool until there's somebody else's. I like my kids. I don't like other people's kids. That's fine. And that is normal. This is your baby. Nobody has to care about it in the same way that you do. That's why clarity, and not clarity in why the business is important, because that's neither here nor there. Everybody wants a job, right? Everybody wants a job. So it doesn't matter if they think that this is the best business in the world, if they think that this is the best idea in the world. They do not have to care about that. They don't have to care about that for your business to be successful. That's a huge one that I want us to stop saying. That's blocking us from being able to delegate. Nobody's going to care, so I'm just not going to pass it. No, 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 no. When you have clear workflows, clear SOPs in a container supported by technology, that is a system. And when you have a system that is clear, anybody can pick it up. Y'all, one of the people that works for me is 21. He does a great job. He does a great job. You know why? Because there's a clear system for him to operate in. He gets everything that he needs served to him on a silver platter. And he delivers because it's very clear. He doesn't have to love my business like me. In fact, I hope he starts his own business. I don't care. That's neither here nor there. All he needs is clarity on what he's supposed to be doing and a clear definition of done, so he knows, don't bring this back until you have done all of these things. Right? And so no, he don't have to care like I do. It's okay if he doesn't. But you need to be clear on what it is that you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to do it, and to what standard you're supposed to be doing it. Yes. Because no, I don't want to spend my days checking his work. So I made sure to build a clear workflow, clear SOPs, and automations where it makes sense so that he can operate without me. The 21-year-olds y'all be calling all types of dumb and YNs and all the stuff. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yes. They work for me and they do well. Yes. You know why? Because there's clarity. So we're in our last minute. The end of the year is coming up. I'm looking for 5 founders who are ready to be honest with themselves, that they are really, really ready for their business to start running without them. And not just in the kind of way. I'm looking for the founders who are done waking up early. I'm looking for the founders whose families are looking for them, right? They don't hate your business, but why is the business taking so much time, right? Founders who are ready for the luxury experience or the service that they're delivering to match the experience that their customers are having. I'm looking for 5 founders and 5 founders only. Because once I hit that 5, I'm wrapping it up for the year. My team can take more if they really want to, but I've decided that's all I want to do. And so that's what I can do, right? I'm looking for 5 founders who want to have that same experience with their business. And if that is you, I want you to comment the word scale, or I want you to go to my bio right now, and I want you to book a call with me. Because I know for a fact that you did not start that business to have it run all over you. You did not start that business to be wearing 30 hats. And you might not understand right now, you might not know exactly how to start taking those hats off and passing it to people, but take it from my clients who have made 6 figures in 45 days. Take it from my clients who literally just texted me, dang, we tried to work with another consultant. They don't deliver the way you do. I know. Yeah, I am tooting my own horn. I'm looking for 5 founders who are ready to get to the next level in their business. And the next level, I promise you, is not because you're not brilliant. That's not what it is. You need systems to match your brilliance so that your team can operate as brilliantly as you are. So if that is you, I want you to comment the word scale. And if you're really, really serious, I want you to go right to my bio right now and I want you to book a call. I only have so many slots for calls because I like taking naps and I can, because my team can execute without me. That's it. Let's talk soon. You cannot scale chaos, but you can absolutely scale clarity. Let's talk soon. Bye, y'all. This has been another episode of SOS Live. We will see y'all. If next week is Thanksgiving, then we won't see y'all next week. On Thursday, anyway. Maybe I'll go live a different day. But catch me. Bye, y'all.